will race play in the general election, and who Americans vote for on November 8th? Let's ask my next guest, joining us from St. Louis, radio host and author of The Big Black Lie, Kevin Jackson. He is also a Fox News contributor. How does Donald Trump win this debate in particular? It seems like a tough one for him to pick up and run with.
I don't think it's going to be tough at all for Donald Trump to resonate with black voters. I think the pivot that he made a week or so ago has been, it's got the Democrats on tilt, as we say in the black community. Look, the Democrats have held dominion over blacks for a long time. And despite their new protestations that everything's rosy in the black community, and they say that Donald Trump's talking down to blacks when he explains what's going on, Donald Trump is saying what millions of Americans witness day in and day out. When you look at criminality in the black community, when you look at just the idea that there is such a thing as the black community or black neighborhoods or black schools, you start to get an understanding of it. So the Democrats are very afraid of a businessman who has a track record, and he's going to resonate.
So Ben Carson is very eloquent at making the point, you know, when he goes out to communities and he makes the point that the Democrats have taken these votes for granted and that a lot of the handouts come down to really not even good intentions, but almost intentional subjugation, that it's keeping people under control. That's a tough and controversial point to make. And coming from someone like Dr. Ben Carson, who's had a history of overcoming things in his life and is black himself, people tend to listen. It's hard to make that much of a turn hearing it from Donald Trump. And how can he achieve that? Go ahead.
I don't agree with that. I think that people recognize what's going on in the black community. They've seen decades of this. If you look at all the statistics of blacks, and again, I watched Eugene Robinson talk about how great it was for blacks when Trump decides he wants to talk to blacks, and he talked about how many blacks are employed and all the great things. The Democrats can't have their cake and eat it too. They can't lament the plight of the black community when they're trying to address all the issues, and then when Donald Trump comes in, suddenly everything's roses. It's not roses. Black unemployment is higher. Black businesses we lose more businesses. We've lost more homes under Obama. We have more people incarcerated, and on and on. All the problems that Donald Trump is highlighting are things that people recognize.
So when he makes a big speech and he calls Hillary Clinton a bigot, and if you actually listen to the whole speech, what he was talking about was school choice and the fact that she's against school choice, and he was saying, why do rich kids and white kids get choice? And Hillary Clinton is against inner city black kids from having a choice on schools, which is a fantastic point and a really valid point. But all the media picked up on was the idea that he called her a bigot. Is it more effective to have people like Ben Carson, or like Sheriff Clarke, go to communities where they're known and talk to people and carry the same message, but do they hear it more from someone like that, someone of color, and who's lived through it in the community?
Well, the short answer would be sure, it's better to have people that because unfortunately blacks have been trained to respond to other blacks. But if you think that Sheriff Clarke and Ben Carson are well received in the black community, they're no better received than Donald Trump is anyway.
Sheriff Clarke?
But everybody, he's not, look, Sheriff Clarke and people like myself, Larry Elder, Star Parker, the handful of black conservatives that you can name, it isn't like these people are trying to get us into the black community. The NAACP, the Congressional Black Caucus, all of these, the circus that is black leadership keeps our voices out of the black community. But what should happen? Everybody in America should be talking about these issues. When you look at everything you just described and all the things that Dr. Carson and myself and Alan West and many others are talking about, they need white folks to say enough is enough. We're not going to play this victimization game because white people are not doing it. The people victimizing blacks are other blacks. The cities are run by blacks. There's hardly a white person and certainly no Republican in sight when you talk about the issues plaguing the so-called black community.
So given all that, I mean, there have been people who have said that all of this talk that he's done over the past couple of days isn't about trying to get minority votes because that's going to be such a tough road ahead. How many could he possibly pick up? It's more about soothing the fears among moderates on the right or even independents that he's racist or crazy or too fringe or this whole alt-right thing, that's what these comments are really about. What do you think?
I disagree. I disagree that what these comments are about. Trump can't go far enough in describing the bigotry of the left. What he described in school choice.
Yeah,
Okay.
Kevin, I'm so sorry to cut you off. You're a fantastic guest. Thank you so much. The best of
My
Judge
pleasure.
Jeanine's Street Justice is moments away. Back after this.